Okay, you just stand by here, everybody. I'm your host, Robert Butler. Welcome to Sports Scope on this Tuesday night, the 16th. Guys, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I am probably not going to get to all this stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just so much flood of free agent talk and movement around the league that I'm not going to be able to probably get to all of it. So I'm just going to get to the big stuff, the quarterback stuff. But first, I do want to thank everybody. Last Tuesday, a week from today, the show I had that, and I'm going to get right to the Bears on my first topic, guys. But I want to thank you all for my views on Twitter, Facebook, Periscope. You guys, 10,500 views. That is an all-time high. I want to thank everybody for that. My expiration date, the trial period ended for alternate. This show was blowing up at a very fast pace. Hope you guys decide to become official sponsor of SportsSkope. You know how to get a hold of me. Okay? So anyways, we'll get right to this show. Got a lot to talk about. Got viewers popping on the screen right now. Okay, let's get to the big story. Andy Dalton signs with the Chicago Bears. Okay, the Bears currently with a $6 million cap hit. It's a $10 million dead cap money for Nick Foles. It's a $6 million hit they're paying him. It's like $6,666,000, some ridiculous amount of money. Okay, so I look at that and I think to myself, okay, there's another report that the Seattle Seahawks want to they're possibly be interested in Sam Darnold from the New York Jets. So, okay, so you've got two issues there. You've got this Ryan Pace there, the general manager who's been on slippery slope. If they wouldn't have made the playoffs, Bear fans, he would have already been fired. But Ryan Pace with the Bears, and this is a guy, to remind you, he is a guy who took Mitchell Trubisky, who is no longer on the roster right now, over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. That'll never be let down. That'll never be let down. And you guys love my suggestion from last week. The audience that did not hear SportsSkope, now it had 10,500 views and counting. I said you've got to get Miami involved. Miami has also signed Tyrod Taylor. They have Tua, of course, on the payroll now. He's the quarterback. So, but they still got that 3 pick, guys. They still got that 3 pick. You've got Chicago over here signing Andy Dalton, and you still got Nick Foles. You're probably going to have to deal Foles as a part of this deal to get not only the cap space, but to put that other quarterback in. You're not going to have that much money in cap space if you're going to go after Russell Wilson, the guy who says he wants to play for the Bears. You guys have a good offensive line. They've already franchise tagged Allen Robertson. I said one of your biggest trade pieces, I want to reiterate that, would be Raekwon Smith, because you got to look at it, folks, from the way they look at it, the general managers of other organizations, and how they look at it is they want a player on a rookie contract who is an all-pro. That is Raekwon Smith. I'd still try to deal this out to the Dolphins, take that 3 pick and flip it back over to Seattle. They were, mind you, Seattle general manager Schneider, I guess, they were looking at Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. They're also interested in possible New York Jets. So that tells me they're going to trade. They're going to trade Russell Wilson. If you Chicago fans, I'm telling you what, if Ryan Pace don't get this done. Now, I've also read this, folks. Pay attention. I've also read this, that you cannot draft future picks beyond this next year until the hour before the draft. I don't understand that. I don't get that. So something could still happen. But if Pace doesn't do this, if I'm his wife, or if he's even married, if I'm his dad, I'll tell him, listen, man, you got to put your house either up for sale, or you're going to have to find somebody to rent this thing out, because you're not going to last the season going into the 2020 season with Nick Foles and Andy Dalton, two guys without a strong arm. So that's what we're hearing right now. And I still think a deal can be done even with these backup quarterbacks, okay? And what do I mean by the flip side, okay? The flip side is Seattle, you have problems getting free agents. Seattle has a big problem getting free agents, okay? You traded for Jadeveon Clowney. He signed elsewhere. You traded for Jamal Adams. They're saying he might not re-sign. Well, they've still got him under contract, but I'm saying he might not re-sign. Today, your best corner, Shaquille Griffin, whose brother's on the team, took a similar, slightly better offer to go to Jacksonville, a total rebuild. Okay, so that people don't want to play in Seattle. So what does that? That gives Seattle more incentive to deal Russell Wilson and get draft picks and get players through trade. You see what I'm saying? I think that Pete Carroll and John Schneider, they have a major issue there, and they've got to address it immediately. They don't have any cap space hardly. They're moving players around to get cap space. Yeah, that's the thing. Jacksonville, and this is why people thought I was stupid. I know people mock me, but a lot of people watch this. People mock me all the time about Jacksonville. That I said that they should try to maybe shop Russell Wilson to the Jaguars. Why? Number one, like you said, sir, ma'am, you got cap space out the yank. They still lead the NFL in cap. They haven't made any major spendings. It's Carlos Hyde. I would not have did that, but they have a lot of money. You have two former coordinators that Russell Wilson liked to work with who currently work in Jacksonville. You have a running back there. You have two running backs now. You got Carlos Hyde and James Robertson. You still got Shark there. You still have a young roster. You can rebuild really quickly if you can get Wilson and try. It's a hypothetical, but Trevor Lawrence, that would be player for player. Lawrence is so high. He's rated so high right now, guys, that if you said, I'll give you Trevor Lawrence and I've got a first ballot Hall of Famer Russell Wilson, I'll say, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it because I'm paying him a rookie contract, see? And that's what they need, cap space. Free agents don't want to come there. You're going to have to overpay in Seattle. You're going against Matt Stafford, who knows how good he's going to be with the Rams. You're going against this San Francisco team who's going to be back strong. We've got a young team. Arizona's not easy out no more. So you give me a guy like a Trevor Lawrence, go out and sign you an offensive line, trade for one, trade for a player, and the taxes are less in Florida. That is true. The taxes are much less in Florida. That's probably what pushed Griffin over. But people just don't like Seattle. I think it's the environment up there. I think maybe that Pete Carroll's not running a great ship like he used to. I think it's getting, and you guys see this when players start to talk, people start to vote. When players start to talk, the management and coaching staff look for ways to get you out. Don't look for the perfect deal, Pete Carroll. You're getting older. It doesn't take too long to rebuild. Try to see if you can get a guy like a Russell Wilson to a Jacksonville. If Russell completely says, are you crazy? Okay, call Washington. Call Washington and say, how about Chase Young? How about Chase Young? How about some draft picks and a defensive player? There's two ways to go with that. You can tank out this year, or you could flip those players for one of those high picks. I think Pete Carroll want to do that. I really do. I think he's the kind of guy that likes these younger kids. I think that I think he would be willing to do that even in his 70s. I really do. But I think if he don't make a move, I think his days are numbered. And I know Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy really not less Nagy. But here's the thing, going back to Chicago, Ryan Pace, whoever the new general manager is, they're going to bring in their own they're wanting to bring in their own coach. So basically both of their days are numbered, you know. And okay, so who's the other player in this? The Dolphins. The same team I've been talking about. They're very quiet. They just signed Tyrod Taylor this afternoon. They've got Tua. Now, my thing about that is, listen up. If you got an opportunity, if you're Chris Greer, he's a general manager, and you are Brian Flores, you have an opportunity to get Deshaun Watson possibly. We saw what David Culley said last week. Or you got a shot at Russell Wilson. Man, Tua's a good guy and everything, but you're instant playoff success. And I'm going to get to the Patriots in a minute. I like most of what they did. I don't like one or two. I won't like two of those players, but I like most of what they did. I'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to everybody else. But you have an opportunity now to get people jobs, to get other coaches jobs. You get Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson on that team. You have a shot to get guys jobs just like that. You have job security because you're going to get deep in the playoffs. Teams and owners and organizations look at you different. When you get a team, that gets in the playoffs. I was looking up some stats on Drew Brees to talk about his legacy today. And you guys won't believe it, but one of the higher quarterback ratings in the last 3 years belongs to Deshaun Watson. It's like 102.34. It's like 128 or something. Watson is a much better player. His coaching went crazy there. The whole organization with Bill O'Brien went off the rails the last year and a half. When they made him jump, when that old man, Mr. McNair, died, when they made this guy general manager, everything else started, including Deshaun Watson's his erratic play. He started being more, but his QBR rating is one of the highest, and that's like second in all the last 3 years. He's got one of the highest ratings of all time. He's really that good. He's won a playoff game. He was up 24-0 to the eventual Super Bowl champs. He don't play defense, in Kansas City last season. So that being said, he's torn his ACL twice, and he says he don't want to be there. So what are you going to do? You could get a king's ransom for the guy, But I tell you what, Chicago, they've got a mess on their hands. They can correct this on draft day. It's like an hour before the draft. I don't know what the NFLPA, the NFL CBA, collective bargaining agreement. It's too much for me to figure out, folks. But I'll tell you this: in the NFL, if you want something bad enough, you can make it happen. Not unless you're trying to get after like a Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. You can definitely do that. The Dolphins have the firepower now to make things happen. They got enough young players to still make it happen. Now, obviously, you've got to get approval from the guy's got a no trade clause. Both of those players have no trade clauses, but you may be able to sell them on that. You really could be able to do that. So, Dolphins have been real quiet. They may very well try to stay with Tua, but if it's me, if I got a shot at one of those guys, the more I think about it, I mean, that's job security right there, man. That's 2 or 3 more good years in your account, everybody. Okay, the Patriots went on a spinning spree, and you know what I will tell you guys straight up. I've been watching the Patriots over 20 years. This Patriot team reminds me of the early days, 2000, 2001. This formula right here with these picks. This is. And I made that prediction. I said they'd probably try to go out to Hunter Henry. Jonnu Smith, I'm out of Nashville, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith, Tennessee, everything I read, they didn't even offer them. They just let these guys. Those are 2 inconsistent football players. These guys are 2 inconsistent football players. You're always supposed to be thinking about job security. And job security is job security. When you're winning, that's job security. So that's what the fans want. But anyways, moving right along, guys. The Patriots here, I do like everything they done. Most of it. Hunter Henry, I know he's had some injury problems, but even if they when you bring in 2 tight ends, that's good for a good tight end, and preferably 2 is good for young quarterback and Cam Newton. That's 2 things I think they're going to do. I could see them getting maybe a Mac Jones or somebody like that. A little bit of a long shot to get Garoppolo at this point, but that still may work out. But as far as Hunter Henry, that Matthew Judon from the Ravens, Nelson Aguilar. Now Aguilar had sticky fingers and Butterfingers in Philadelphia, but he was pretty consistent with that Raider team. He anybody not named Darren Waller, he was the guy. I'm surprised they let him go. Still pretty young. Now, Jonnu Smith, that's $32 million. I hope I'm wrong for the guy's sake, but that's 32 guaranteed that Jonnu Smith will probably is going to not be a good play for you. He's going to be overrated. You'll probably end up getting rid of him in about 2 years. He was not consistent with Tennessee. I know that they moved him around and all that. I played him in fantasy all the time. This guy would have a huge game, and then the next game was like, dang, is he hurt or is he just not showed up? 1 catch, 6 yards. And then he had 3 touchdowns a week before that. He's highly, highly inconsistent player. I'm surprised that they gave him that kind of money. Now, this Jalen Mills out of not a bad play, good open field tackle out of Philadelphia. Kendrick Bourne. Now, Kendrick Bourne has another head scratcher. This guy really, I don't know if you're getting him for a blocker or something. Didn't do nothing in San Francisco. I don't know why they went with him. But this Devon, this defensive tackle, got shoe from Miami. I like him. And Detrick Wise Jr., the defensive end out of the Jets, good play there. So this again, going back to that, this reminds me of the old school Patriots. It's going to be a long day. They're starting to get us some pass rush. They may get some more people, guys. This reminds me of the Lord Malloy, Teddy Bruschi type of days here. Willie McGinnis, those type of players. Remember, they got Hightower coming back, Patrick Chung coming back. Reminds me of those Ty Law, Rodney Harrison, defense, run the ball, get the ball to your tight ends. This could be some Ben Watson type of days. Those days, just a ground and pound. To right now, even with, and I said this last week, now I really want to second that. I think they're a wild card team. Now, Pittsburgh, I'm not sure about Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh was in the playoffs. So who you going to knock out from last year right off the bat? Pittsburgh is they've lost their center. They lost one of their corners today. Was it Hilton? Mike Hilton. Bud Dupree, I knew he was injured. Now, Tennessee signed him coming back from ACL. I don't know what they've lost one of their other tackles. I know Villanueva, guy's got a mouthful of a name. I think he's still a free agent. They got a really jacked up offensive line. They lost corner. They lost a corner. They lost a pass rush. I'm not sure Patriots or the Steelers. I don't know what they're going to do yet, but I don't think they make it. But I do think the Patriots look pretty good. I think the Patriots look like a wild card, But I'm telling you, I do like that overall. I think people may be that there's always somebody, a critic everywhere you go. And if it was garbage, only ones, like I said, too, I don't like Kendrick Bourne and I don't like Jonnu Smith for the Patriots. I'm surprised Jonnu Smith went before Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's way better player than a Jonnu Smith. But I guess because he stayed healthy, but I guess I don't know. But either way, I'm glad Tennessee passed up on these guys talking here out of the Nashville area. Other news and notes as far as free agency is concerned, there is some good plays out there, and I'll get to it. Let me see. Other just got my eyes type of deal here. The Tampa re-signing Shaq Barrett like that. Now Gronk, I don't know what y'all thinking there. Gronk, he had a good Super Bowl. Gronk's good about every 3 or 4 games in a regular season. They signed him to a 10-year deal. That was to make Tom Brady happy. That was one of those deals. But bringing back Shaq Barrett, re-signing Levante David, maybe even bring back Ndamukong Suh, but I don't think they'll miss him too much. Shaq Barrett was the big one there. As far as Chris Godwin, that's like an insurance policy, I think. They franchised him. May even bring back Leonard Fournette. Now, the Patriots are interested in Fournette. And Seattle can't get anybody. Again, I would be really shocked if Seattle signed Leonard Fournette. They would have to way overpay for Leonard Fournette. And if I'm Leonard Fournette, I would not want to go there. I'm really going to go to New England or to go back to Tampa. If Tampa gave me a decent deal, I would probably go back and play with Brady in Tampa. But, Tampa looks like a team that's going to go far. I think they'll probably win. I don't know if they're going to get all the way back to the Super Bowl, but I think they'll look good. I think they will look good in the first couple months. I think they're going to be one of those teams that gets off to a really auspicious start this year. Okay, other free agent signings. Jets signed Carl Larson. Love that play. Needed a pass rush. You guys got plenty of money under the cap. Overpaid for Corey Davis. I would not have done that. But those Carl Larson, good picks so far, so good there. I don't know what they're going to do with that 2 pick. It looks like they're going to get Wilson from BYU. But I did, like I said, didn't like Corey Davis. Do like Carl Lawson. Cincinnati signs Trey Henderson. Second sacks on the opposite side of Cam Jordan from the Saints. Love that pick. Now, Tennessee made a lot of noise today. They cut Adoree Jackson, and they also brought in they cut Malcolm Butler the other day. They brought in edge rusher Bud Dupree, and they brought in Janoris Jenkins. Now, Jenkins is a guy that was rated still a pretty good cover corner. He's got some miles on it. He's 33. So Tennessee, by cutting those 2 players, I think they might go after a Patrick Peterson. He's going to have some takers. This guy's only 31 years old, the Arizona player, 6 foot tall, running back there, Patrick Peterson. Keep an eye out for him to be one of the next big chips to fall here in the early hours. Tennessee also signed Deonco Autry from the Colts here, defensive tackle. Raiders signed Yannick Ngakoue, but they let go their center. I don't understand that. He's an all-pro center. They moved around their offensive line again, like I said last week, and I still want to second that. The Raiders, this is the first year that Gruden and Mayock are going to come under fire if they don't get to the playoffs. And I look at that and I think to myself, well, look, I love I did not like that Aaron Jones re-signing. I think that they should have let him walk and let the running back that they got last year in the draft tell him to lose some weight and just bring him back and roll with him. I guess they were worried about having another Eddie Lacy on their hands, but they let their center go, and the Chargers signed him. So the Chargers signed him. They signed a tackle out of Pittsburgh. The Chargers are having a good offseason so far. Saints officially re-signed Winston, and they give Taysom Hill this crazy $144 million fake contract. I'll tell you what, all these people are dogging out Winston, and I've been one of them in the past, but there's a reason why that Sean Payton brought him back. He didn't brought him back. He's not a charity guy. There's something he's seen in Winston that he still wants another look at. And there's something in Taysom Hill he thinks that he still may be limited. So keep that in mind. That's going to be a nice battle to watch there. Of course, they lost a lot of players. I mean, I don't even know if they're under the cap yet. So, but they cut Jenkins, and now he's a Tennessee Titan. Minnesota signs Dalvin Tomlinson from the Giants. Now, the Giants did re-sign Leonard Williams. Let me see. Leonard Williams, Carlos. Carlos, I'm just now seeing your the wanted money. Well, you got to pay your all-pro guys. Yeah, Corey Davis, not Juju. Yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster still out there. Carlos, I'm just now seeing. I'm on a new streamlined system. I had been ignoring you the last few weeks. I just hadn't been able to figure out how to read these comments. Now I've got you set up, man. So I'm just now looking at your Jenkins. Yeah, I know he's a mouthy guy. He said Carlos said he talks too much. He come out of New York City. The Giants' only good signing was getting in Leonard Williams. The Giants, Dave Gettleman, has been on a tightrope for me for a while. I mean, that's a guy that just, you know, I just wasn't really in love with Dave Gettleman when he re-signed Odell Beckham, and then he turned around and traded him. It was a good idea to trade him. But, you know, it's not a big Dave Gettleman guy. Just not. He's hanging on by a thread. If they don't get there next year, they're going to fire him, and they may fire their coach. The coach looks good so far, but they, you know, they're going to have to perform. Let me change out my stand by, folks. Stand by. I got to stop this recording and start another one. All right. So, anyways, back up here. Here we go. Sorry about that. I always have to change out my whatchamacallit there, folks. All right. But have to change this out as well. As far as the Giants are concerned, they've been very quiet. They've lost one of their tackles. They're on a very tight leash. I like getting paid. The Rams might lose several defensive players like Johnson, Hill, and Floyd. Yeah. Now, Mark's talking about. Now, Mark, that's funny. I got you at L.A., and I've got Carlos with on the East Coast. He's out of New York City area. Yeah. Now, the Rams are in a win now mode. The Rams are very top heavy. They're a very top heavy team. Paid a lot of people, and this Stafford thing, this Stafford deal, you got to win. I mean, you make a move and when you make a move like that, there's going to be more and more pressure to win the Super Bowl, you know. And I don't know. I think they're going to, Mark, I think they're going to put up a lot of fantasy numbers, but I'm not sure how, as the season goes on, they're going to have to start restructuring Aaron Donald and some of those players that are on their staff. I think they're still over the cap, Mark. So you guys got until like 1 o'clock your time tomorrow to get all that squared away. I'm just going through some of these other free agent notes. Like I said, I did not like the Packers letting. If it's guys, I know this sounds boring, but this is how you win. Okay, when you have he does, and I think Stafford is going to play well. I don't know how it's going to end for him though. I think he'll play well early, Mark. I think he'll play well early. So the Packers. If it comes down to center or running back, I would re-sign a center. I know that sounds crazy, but I would have brought this guy back, going back to them. Mark, keep an eye out for your Chargers. And I like their tackle, and I like the center. They got the all-pro center from the Packers. They got the Packers center, and they got this guy, Matt Filler, right tackle from Pittsburgh. So you already got your running backs there. You let Henry go, which is fine. I get it. but you've got a great wide receiver there, true number one, you know. So these guys, Mark Ingram, they still got some defensive guys they might want to pick up, but they seem to be a pretty loaded team. Other news and notes. All right, Raiders. I'm just not sure. Raiders got practically rid of their whole offensive line, and it was a strong point for them. We talked about I'm just going off of everybody who I've talked about already. Denver keeps Von Miller. Now, Deshaun Watson said that he would be interested in going to Denver. I don't know why, but they kept Von Miller. They brought in Ron Darby from Washington. So Vic Fangio, only thing he needs is he needs a quarterback. I don't know how they're going to get Deshaun Watson, but he said he would be interested in going to Denver. Go figure. Chiefs. Okay. All right. Trent Williams is still out there, guys. The Chiefs signed Joe Thungley of the Patriots at guard. Now, of course, they got O-line issues. Schwartz has been cut, and Eric Fisher, he had the Achilles, so they had to cut both of those guys. They're going to have the guard back that was in Canada last year, and they've signed this guy Thurley from the Patriots. Okay, listen up. If you are a Chiefs fan, now I talked about Orlando Brown last week, Mark and Carlos. That's the guy from the Ravens who said that he wants to be traded because he knows he can play left tackle now. He wants to play left tackle, okay? Because Ronnie Stanley's their left tackle, and Stanley's supposed to be back. If you're Kansas City and you have a situation like that, go after Trent Williams. Trent Williams has got a 93 PPF rating. Trent Williams is the highest rated tackle out there, or one of them. I think. Now he wants $20 million, Pickles. He wants $20 million, and 49ers have not paid him yet. He's technically going to be on the market tomorrow, guys. If you're Kansas City, I said this last week, Pickles, Mark and Carlos, I would trade Tyreek Hill to get a left tackle. I would trade him for cap space. I would do whatever it took. When you got a special player like a Pat Mahomes, go after a Trent Williams. If you can get Trent Williams out from underneath if you can get him out from underneath a team like a San Francisco, go for it. You get Trent Williams. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. But that's what I would do. Now, normally I wouldn't go that crazy with the left tackle like that. But I would go after Trent Williams or that's right. You got to protect that quarterback. You can get a defense in the draft. You can go defense in the draft. But, man, I would go after Williams and then maybe try to get a right tackle somewhere else, through free agency, draft somebody. But, man, you get a Trent Williams. You got these two guards coming back. You're going to need a center. They got a makeshift offensive line, They're going to have a makeshift offensive line. But if you get a high-level guy like that, Patrick Mahomes is already restructured. They'll probably ask Travis Kelce to restructure. Again, not to sound like a broken, if I had to do something with Tyreek Hill, I would do it. Because I think you can use Mecole Hardman in that same role. They haven't been forced to do that yet, but I think they will now. Their window is now. But it's not always going to be like that. Yeah, Houston's still out there. Other guys, let's see, Von Miller. What else did I put down here? Other available free agents, and I'll talk about this Drew Brees thing in just a second. Okay, Robertson, Justin Simmons, a lot of these guys have already been tagged. Like I said, one of the highest rated guys, number 5 on CBS, is the only one that hasn't been tagged or anything. He's unsigned. Shaq has already signed for Tampa. Allen Robertson, Justin Simmons, Taylor Martin with Kenny Galladay's overrated. He's been hurt a lot. And I want to give kudos, guys, to these general managers who did not sign guys like Juju Smith-Schuster on day one, Kenny Golladay on day. I'm not one of these believers to pay a wide receiver a big bunch of money in free agent. I wouldn't do that. And nobody really has other than your Jets. Carlos. Samuel's still out there. Curtis Samuel. William Jackson from Cincinnati, cornerback. He's still out there, guys. Anthony Harris, safety. He's number 24 on CBS's ranking. He's still out there. There's somebody could get him. Players like Melvin Ingram. Now, he's 31 years old. Tennessee may take a shot at him. Your Jets, Carlos, may go after Melvin Ingram. Juju's still out there, yeah. Alejandro Villanueva, he's 32. He's another tackle. You may be able to move him over to right tackle Kansas City. That will be another guy. I'm just rapid fire here. Pickles, Patrick Peterson will be 31 this year. He's still available. Tennessee had cut both of their corners. The Rams, Leonard Floyd, he's re-signed, Mark, like you said. Sammy Watkins is available. I wouldn't sign Sammy Watkins. Kevin King has got toasted. Austin Ritter from Kansas City has been cut. Jaylen Brown from Tennessee is released. Kenyon Drake is out there. Troy Hill from the Rams there, Mark, is out there. Just Chris Carlson's hurt all the time. Nelson Aguilar. Gerald Avert, the other tight end from the Rams, is out there. Desmond King. Tennessee may bring him back at slot corner. Jared Cook at safety or tight end, excuse me. Center Mac Shura from Baltimore. They may bring him back. I don't know. So there's a lot of good players out there, guys, who simply – Mike Hilton just got signed. I want to say he went to Cincinnati out of Pittsburgh. A lot of good players out there. Usually these players that go late, well, it's usually the ones that turn out to be the better bargains, the ones that go in day 2 and day 3. Yeah, Aguilar's a good route runner there, Pickles. Yeah. Now, the Saints keep talking about Richard Sherman. I'm not a big Richard Sherman guy. I would put him maybe at safety. I think he's washed up at corner, but apparently some of these rating systems still like him. So I'm not too high on that. I do not agree with Richard Sherman, guys, at 32 years old. You saw he was one of the main guys that got beat in the Super Bowl. So anyways, so it's just that's one of those things that you just wait and see. I'm not sure what the Raiders are thinking, and I'm just not sure what a lot of these teams are thinking that are sitting on their hands or losing players left and right. Pittsburgh is not in the playoffs right now for what they're doing right now. They're not a playoff team. The Patriots are today, Pickles, in my opinion. Okay, now Drew Brees. Let me go to this story here. Drew Brees is, I will say this about Drew Brees, folks. I think after looking at his body of work, that this guy is anywhere, if you take out the Super Bowls, he's probably top 5, top 10. I used to think that was so widespread. Yeah, Sherman, Carlos, he's rated pretty high. I wouldn't sign him. If you're a New York fan, I would not bring in Richard Sherman. Not unless you're going to bring him in nickel or safety or something, convert him to safety. But Brees, first in passing yards, 80,000. He has got the most completions in NFL history, 71-42. He's got 54 games with a touchdown. 54 straight games with a touchdown. 51 passing yards. That's second in NFL history, only to a passing touchdown. That's second only to Brady. Here's my thing, guys. Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers never took a pay cut. Tom Brady made less money than Matt Stafford from 2009 to 2019. Tom Brady had won 2 Super Bowls during that period. He beat the Rams, and he beat Seattle. Carlos, you see what I'm saying? If Breeze and Rodgers would have took that initiative, even Peyton, but really Breeze and Rod, during that period, Breeze could have had 3. Rodgers could have had 3. I know he could have had another one. And Brady is sitting there at 4, guys. Brady is sitting there at 4. Breeze could be at 3 or 4. Rodgers could be at 3 or 4. And then we would have a bigger debate. But all these guys want to make their money. There's this pressure within the league that you're supposed to top out money to help the players behind you. You're supposed to look out for you and your own happiness. Remember the movie Pickles with Will Smith called The Pursuit of Happiness. This today is free agent. Technically free agents tomorrow, guys. Mark and Carlos. Happiness, guys hate. And I listen to all these reporters. Mark, I'm sure you've talked to a lot of pros, and I listen to a lot of shows. And a lot of these guys come back and say, man, I just wasn't happy, man. Great. If Rodgers, listen to this, guys. Mark, you're on the West Coast. Carlos, check this out, guys. Seattle 2014 NFC Championship game. Are you trying to tell me if Rodgers had taken a pay cut and they had a better defense, 2 or 3 defensive players, that they can't stop that comeback by the Seahawks, where Russell's praying and stuff? Remember, the guy dropped the onside kick, Pickles. Remember that? The guy from Green Bay, the onside kick slipped through his hands, and then Seattle comes back and wins the game. That game could have been in Green Bay, guys, if Rodgers takes a pay cut. And then I think Green Bay beats. I think Green Bay with a defensive player or two beats they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl that year. I can't tell you guys how many players like Albert Hainsworth come out and say, I wish I would have just took less money, a few million less, and just stayed with Tennessee. But when he had a top 10, I want to say it was a top 10 in 2010 when they won that Super Bowl with Charles Woodson and A.J. Hawk and Clay Matthews, Pickles. You keep building big name players like that. Nobody else offered Charles Woodson, by the way, because he was hurt a lot with the Raiders. And somebody was talking about that was one of the greatest free agent signs. But if Drew Brees doesn't want to break the bank with his second contract after they win that 2009 Super Bowl, they get back after Bounty Gate's over with, I think. Both of those teams, both of those players, if they just didn't want all the money, they could have had 2 and 3, and Brady's sitting there at 4. Maybe they could have. Rodgers is so good, Rodgers could have 4 now. He should have won that year that the Giants won in 2011. They were 15-1. But he wanted that money. And Brady took another pay cut again today, and now they're favored to go back to the Super Bowl. Carlos, he's a $9 million cap hit. That's it. Tom Brady and they'll give me all this Gisele Bündchen stuff. He was taking pay cuts before they met. Now, if you're a 6th-round pick, why would you take a pay cut? Because it's fun going to work every day. You get on a higher plane when you win. Like a guy was saying, somebody mentioned a comment like, If you're thinking about job security, you're going to lose. No, if you're thinking about job security, you're going to win. Yeah, Fitzpatrick went to Washington today. And I don't know if Miami wanted him back. I don't know. They got Tyrod Taylor. He's more athletic, but Fitzpatrick is an on and off player. I don't know guys, Miami is so quiet. I think they may have something up their sleeve. I'm not sure what Miami's going to do. Even bringing back the players that the other quarterback with Tyrod and Tua. But if you're Chris Greer, I'm telling you guys, when you get a rare opportunity like this. You get a very rare opportunity to get Washington. Yeah, I don't know what Washington's. I think Washington just made a bad move there, Mark. I think maybe they should just kept Alex Smith and let him and Heineke battle it out in camp. You know, I'm not really sure what Washington's doing right now. Washington has a lot of assets. They could get Wilson if they come off Chase Young. I think if they come off Chase Young and some draft picks, I think they can get Wilson. But if you're Chris Greer, the general manager at Miami, and if you are Brian Flores, you are going to get tremendous opportunity if you can get a guy like a Russell Wilson or particularly Deshaun Watson. If you ask me, you see what I'm saying? Fitzpatrick is a journeyman quarterback. He is a hot and cold guy. He's a good guy. He's a good teacher. He's Fitz magic for a reason. He's sometimes the magic works, sometimes the magic don't. He's hot and cold. That's the story of his whole career. I think he set a record for most touchdowns. But that Drew Brees, won one Super Bowl. I don't know. Maybe put him in the top 5 or top 10. But like I said, if he would have took a pay cut and get 3 to 4 guys, wouldn't you put him in the top 5 and the top 3? He's got the records. Most completions, most yards, second to touchdowns, second most touchdown passes. I mean, he's got a heck of a start streak. Remember, Tom Brady missed the season because he tore his ACL in 2008. You know? So it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to digest. Let me get we got the NCAA tournament coming up. I think Gonzaga, I don't think they're fool's gold. I think that they're undefeated. And remember, they went to the championship game 3 years ago, so they're not going to – the Cinderella thing, they're past that. Rick Pitino, Carlos, got Iona into the tournament, and Kentucky Pickles and Louisville did not get it. His 2 former teams did not get in the tournament. And Coach Calipari is on a major hot seat. He is on a major hot seat in college basketball. I made a note to myself, guys. Jim Bohannon from Syracuse is 76 years old and in the tournament. Jim Boeheim, from Syracuse. 76 years old in the tournament. And I'll say this. If I'm Kentucky, guys, I know this sounds a little bit risque. Iona, yeah, he took Iona to the tournament. Kudos to Georgetown with Patrick Ewing getting that tournament. But you know, this guy, Bill Belichick, 68 years old. Nick Saban's 69, guys. Nick Saban's 69 at the top of his game. Rick Pitino is 68 years old. If you're Kentucky, do you call Rick Pitino to reunite? And my answer is yes. Everything should be water under the bridge. We know about the woman with the lawsuit. We know about Coach Cal is man, they are over him in Kentucky. I talked to guys up there, locals. They are over Coach Cal. Pitino can still coach. Pitino's 68. 68's the new 58. Carlos says Nick Saban looks 45 years old because he does look 45 years old. He's at his best. He's like fine wine. Rick Pitino, I would hire Rick Pitino. And the coach for the Chicago Bulls, former Florida coach, what's his name? Pickles. That coach right there, that would be another guy I would call possibly for Kentucky. People will probably this hasn't been announced. Don't be surprised if Coach Cal, Mark, Billy Donovan. Thank you, Brian. Billy Donovan is struggling in Chicago. If I'm Kentucky, if you can't get Donovan, go after Pitino. Winning cures most. I know sometimes winning can't cure it all if it's too bad. But just win, guys. Just win. That's what I tell you guys. When I was talking to a guy earlier, somebody's asking me about job security and everything. If you're a guy like Ryan Pace, the general manager for the Bears, you go after Russell Wilson. If you're Chris Greer, the general manager from Miami, you go after Deshaun Watson, guys. That's winning cures. Winning creates more job security. And if you're Kentucky, I'm going after one of them too. Donovan first because he's younger, but Pitino would love that job. He would jump on that in a New York minute. And I was out of New York, isn't it, Carlos? Isn't that out of the New York area? So maybe Alabama's my sleeper, I guess. I know Villanova's got the guard that's out. Baylor's got one loss. But I got a feeling Gonzaga's got a really clean shot. I don't think they're fool's gold this year. But guys, I just wanted to talk about that again. To reiterate this, if you're Kansas City, go after Trent Williams. Pope is a good coach. Just win. What will happen at Trubisky at Chicago? Yeah, Trubisky's still out there, Mark, and now remember he did get them to the playoffs last year. But the fact is they've already got two other guys. Somebody will pick up Trubisky as a backup. Keep an eye out, Mark, for maybe Carolina. Maybe pick him up. Carolina may do it. He will be brought into somebody's camp. I just don't know who. He's a pretty good athlete. If I'm him, I'll probably sign with a team with a good offensive-minded head coach. I may go in and try out for Philadelphia. Well, Gonzaga, we'll see what happens. It's all going to be in one place. That may hurt Gonzaga because it's going to be in Indianapolis, guys. So I think it may favor the teams in the middle of the country, Ohio State, teams like that. So that is a good point, though. They need two more players in the bench. But that being said, hey, man, we'll see what happens. It's wide open. I wouldn't bet the farm on anybody in college basketball because it's too hard to predict nowadays. It's worse than it's ever been. If you guys like the show, share the show. Again, Pickles, Carlos, you guys don't know this on my Twitter, 10,000 views last week. Y'all love talking football. You guys love talking the draft. You guys love talking free agency and quarterback change. Mark Few. Yeah, Mark. Yeah, he is a great coach, man. I tell you. The Jags, Mark, it's still if you're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's still very early. They have a lot of money in cap. I know that Urban Meyer knows he knows the college game really well. Look for them to knock it out of the park in the draft. Not just that first round. I think they got 2 first-round picks, actually. One from you guys from L.A. They got multiple picks. I think they're going to be A-OK in the draft. This is going to be a Pete Carroll situation where he knows the draft really well with Jacksonville. I'll be back on Thursday. Hey, guys, we got plenty of free agency talk. Juju has not been signed. Trent Williams has not been signed. These are big-time players. Kenny Golladay has not been signed. It's a lot of big players. Trent Williams is the big fish. So Yeah. Lawrence is going to be money. I think he's going to be close to Andrew Luck, if not better. He's 6'6", guys. So if you guys like the show, share the show. I will be back Thursday around 9 p.m. Central Time. If I can get here earlier, I will. I have to work 12 hours a day. I like to get the show started as soon as possible. Have a good night, everybody. I will see you Thursday around 9 p.m. Central Time here on Sports Scope. Yeah, somebody, quick question on Clowney. Clowney's coming back from injury, and he's got work ethic issues, folks. So we'll keep that in mind, all right? Thanks, guys.